speaker, Edie, delights in inviting people to live rich, full, juicy lives.
Yeah.
And Edie is internationally recognized, sought after. So she is an internationally recognized, sought after, colorfully true, creative journalist, interviewer, author, editor. She is a dynamic and inspiring speaker, licensed social worker, interfaith minister, and many, many more. Mm-hmm. I think she likes to also acknowledge herself as a bliss coach. She likes to live in bliss. So let's give a warm circle welcome to our speaker spark, sharing love is contagious, Edie Moser.
Edie Weinstein.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I've used both. It's okay. I have lots of people.
Oh.
First, I want to give a shout out and a great big hug to my friend Donna in Virginia. Yay! She also is one of those free hug crazy people, and we're both missing that experience now. Oh, and Jeff, hi, Donna and Jeff from Virginia. Yay! First thing I want to let you know, I'm holding something that's going to be familiar to folks that attend Circle regularly. It's a feather. So if I were to be speaking in person, you would have them all on your seats. So this is going to be our group feather. And I chose a green one today because green to me means life. And as Michael Franti said so eloquently, it is good to be alive today. For those who don't know who Michael Franti is, Jonathan does, obviously. Michael is also an internationally known, sought-after musician who's like 6'5", dreads down to here. When he wears a hat, it's this big because he's got all his hair tucked under it. And I first met Michael when he spoke at Omega Institute many years ago. I had heard his music on WXPN. And the way I would describe it is peace and social justice meets hip hop, rap, and reggae. And he uses his musical talent as a way of bringing people together. His focus is stay human. And he just released a movie called Stay Human. I don't know if it's still available on YouTube, but I watched it the other night. And Michael and his wife, Sarah, and their little boy, Taj, who's probably, I don't think he's even 2 years old yet, are self-solituding in Bali. Now, if you're going to self-solitude, that's the place to do it. They have a resort there that they run a yoga retreat. So when all of this went down, they were stuck there. So they've been doing daily music, like concerts, like one or two songs. So look up Michael Franti, Franti. I forget what he calls it. They're like the Stay-at-Home World Tour, something like that. So that's just a little brief snippet about Michael and his song. So I'm really grateful to be together with everybody today. I've spoken at Circle countless times, but when I was preparing for this one this morning, it felt like it was the most important one I've ever done. And I was crying thinking about it. I'm crying now. So, because more than ever, we need to be with people we know and love. We need to avoid the separation that this disease is causing. And it also occurred to me that at a time when we most need physical contact, we're deprived of it. So I encourage anybody who is, I call it self-solituding rather than quarantining or social distancing, but anybody who is with other people that they know and love, hug them. Okay, hug them extra for me, for the other people that are living alone, that don't have other human beings to hug. So let's take a moment right now, kind of wrap your arms around yourself. And imagine as you're doing that you're hugging all the people that you love that you can't be with right now, either because they live too far away, because they are working in high-risk environments, because you don't want them to catch it, whether you have it or not. And any time you feel like you're missing those people, okay? So we're all alive today. All of us are breathing. All of us have heartbeats. None of us knows when our last day is going to be. We never knew, but this condition, I don't even like naming it, but this virus has taught us that life is fleeting, that none of us knows from one day to the next who's going to contract it, who's going to recover, who's going to die. I've been, I don't say fortunate, but I only know one person that has died from it. And some of you are familiar with him as well, Gene Shea, who was a radio host in Philadelphia for many decades. And he helped create and MC the Philadelphia Folk Festival. He died on April 17th. He was in his 80s, and he was on a ventilator for several weeks, was coming out of it, seemed to be recovering, and then he had a stroke. So he was on hospice when he passed. So he's the only one that I'm aware of in my own circles. And what I found for myself that helps is not getting caught up in the numbers of people that are diagnosed, the numbers of people that have died. But I honor them every time I hear about the numbers. But it helps to know how many people have recovered. I saw a video yesterday about this person that was discharged from Doylestown Hospital, and there was a standing ovation line as they were being wheeled out of the hospital out into the daylight. So those are the things that I honor in the midst of this. So I've been self-solituding. I think this is the end of the 6th week, and my job, thank goodness, is stable. I'm a therapist, and I do telehealth sessions with my clients. So I have consistent income, unlike other people that may have lost their jobs because of this. So I'm grateful for that. And my clients tell me that they really like it. And some of them have asked, can we continue doing it this way even afterward? Because they can come to the session in their PJs. They don't have to go anywhere. So we'll see. I don't know. But that's how I've been spending a lot of my days, is working with my clients online. And I've been, except for the occasional venture out to drop off paperwork at my office and the occasional venture out to go grocery shopping, I'm here. Those of you that know me, that have been to my home, know that I have a very comfortable home, and I look around the rooms that remind me of the people that I love, because I've had people here. I've had gatherings here. When I look at the walls of my home, I see the love that's there because of gifts that people have given me, or pictures that were taken that have to do with the people, the people in my life. So that's keeping me sane and vertical, is what I call it. My living room is now my gym. I have a yoga mat on the floor. I've got my little hand weights, so I've been lifting. I've got one of those big balancing balls that you can do sit-ups and push-ups on. And I leave everything out for the purpose of knowing that I can't walk away from it. Since I can't go to the gym, this is my workout. And then I take walks in my neighborhood. So I'm taking good care of myself physically. I'm eating healthfully. When I do go out to the store, I don't buy junk. I don't think I have any junk food in my house at all now. I'm eating very healthfully, and I'm feeding my brain and my emotional heart with affirmations. I don't know if you've heard the song that came out in the beginning when people were doing hand washing, and you could sing along if you know it. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. I'm so glad every little cell in my body is well. I'm so glad every little cell in my body is well. So I've been doing that over and over throughout the day. I remind myself, the Karen Drucker song, Healed, Whole, and Healthy. I'm healed, whole, and healthy. I've got love surrounding me. When I pray a lot. And to me, prayer isn't petitioning an outside male entity to fix things, because the reality is, I don't know who's in charge. I don't know who's running the show, but it's crazy. Whatever it is, whoever thought this one up had to been high on something, because this is really the most challenging experience that many of us have ever endured. So my prayers are that everybody I know and love, and everybody they know and love, and everybody they know and love, and exponentially until it surrounds the whole world, be safe, be healthy. Like most of us, I'm most concerned about my immediate family, my son and daughter-in-law, and my now 3-month-old grandson, all of them. And I'm going to be doing a long distance drive-by visit, like distancing from them visit today, because it was my son's birthday a couple days ago. And I haven't held my grandson in 6 weeks. And for those of you that are grandparents or parents, or children, who haven't been able to see their loved ones or hold their loved ones, that's the hardest part for me. I'm doing fine being here on my own. I'm actually slowing down. I'm actually taking time to just be. Imagine that. But the separation from family and dear friends is the hardest part for me. And so the prayers are keeping me going too. They're sustaining me too. And connection. Zoom is a marvel, and I'm so grateful for it. The first night of Passover, I was part of a Zoom Seder with friends from the DC area, and one of our friends is in Costa Rica. So Raven, is her name, was lying in her hammock, enjoying the Seder. So I've connected there. I've sat in on services from other spiritual communities that I'm part of as well, and this one, and it's kept me going here, kept my emotional heart and my physical heart going. I am one of those high risk group people. I had a heart attack almost 6 years ago in June. And thank you, Donna. She says, I'm a buzz of activity. Slowing down is good for me. Yeah, sweetheart. Thank you. So yeah, the heart condition, 2 years ago, I had pneumonia. So I have some idea of what some of the people are going through that have been dealing with the disease. And I'm grateful. I keep reminding myself, I tell the virus, we have conversations. I say, you have no place in my life. You are not welcome. My body is not an accommodating place for you. So it's steered clear. And I said, while you're at it, stay away from other people that I know and love. You're not welcome there either. And I do a lot of what I call Godversations or God wrestling. And maybe some of you maybe some of you are doing that too, where you're saying, what the heck, what is this? Or sometimes even cruder language, WTF, what's going on here? Why is this happening? What's the purpose? And I don't know. I was saying, if you're really running the show, how could you let this happen? And then I remember the Holocaust. And then I remember other things that are going on throughout the world where people are abused, where they're frightened, where they're hungry, where they're homeless. So I'm not so sure, and I'm an interfaith minister myself, I'm not so sure that there's really this big entity running the show here. Because if there, in my mind, again, not telling anybody what to believe spiritually, but if there was, how could a loving God allow these things to happen? So I think, again, just my mental meanderings, that we're called on to be God's hands, God's eyes, God's hearts in helping to heal our fellow human beings. I've seen so many incidents or experiences where people are rising to the occasion to take care of each other, people preparing food for their neighbors, people going shopping. I have a friend who's gone shopping for me twice because he said, look, I'm already going out. I think I might have had it in January, not a hospitalization level intensity, but he said, I think I've already had it. You're in a high risk group. Just deal with it. I'm going shopping for you. So he's gone shopping for me twice in the last couple of weeks. And I really appreciate that. There are people that are ordering food for their, for hospitals, people that are making masks. I have a friend, Sandy, who's a chiropractor, and she and her husband are making those 3D printed out shields, and they've made, I think, a few thousand of them so far that they donated to hospitals. People smiling at each other. When we go out in public, we're wearing our masks. Oh, I should have brought my mask out. But we're wearing our masks, and we can't tell that people are smiling except if we look in their eyes. So I encourage you, when you do go out, don't avoid the gaze of the people around you. Smile at them with your eyes, because that way we feel even more connected. And for me, it's about living in the spirit of gratitude. Yes, I miss my family and friends, the physical contact with them. Yes, I miss being able to come and go as I please, but I don't feel stuck at home. I consider self-solitude and quarantining to be an act of love. I don't believe it's being enforced upon us. I don't believe that we're pawns in a game. I believe that we're here to continue, and we don't need to protect each other from each other. We're protecting each other from this disease, from this virus. And again, from my own perspective, the virus to me, even before this, was fear, was separation, was lack of appreciation for the planet, for the animals, for life around us. So this is teaching me, and maybe you too, but it's teaching me that we are all so connected and that we need to come together, not be divided. For me, this is not a political issue. This is, this affects everybody, regardless of who you voted for, regardless of what your political beliefs are. There is nobody that is immune to this because we're human. So I invite you to look within yourselves and say, what is this, what is this teaching me? Why am I alive today to experience this? I have a dear friend who some of you know, Yvonne Kay, who is 80, I think she's going to be 86 this year, who is survivor of the Blitzkrieg in London during World War II. And she is my go-to person. She's my mama figure since my own mom died. And we talk a couple times a week because I'm concerned about her. She lives alone. She's got 2 wonderful cats, Della and Daisy, who keep her company. She's got wonderful friends and family, but I just want to make sure she's okay. And she says a couple things to me, and those of you who know her can hear her British accent, and she's saying this. She says, being a child of war, I always have a freezer full of food. There's always, always what I need there. And she's been through so much that she's so resilient. She's like a rubber ball that bounces. And she said, I know we're going to get through this in one way or another. And so she checks on me now. I don't just check on her. She calls me a couple times a week too. So I listen to Yvonne and I say, okay, if Yvonne is calm about it, I can be calm about it. I can find a way to deal with this. I also look at it as the difference between spiritual bypass and getting real with the feels. The reality is it's scary. I wake up every morning like, okay, all right, now what? Okay, you're safe in your house. There are no bombs falling. You've got food in the refrigerator and the cabinets. You've got gas in your car. In fact, more gas in your car than you've ever had, which is another interesting irony because now the gas prices are so low, we're not going anywhere. So, you've got that. You've got, thank God, the computer that works because this is part of my livelihood as a journalist and a therapist. You've got wonderful friends and family. Everybody is safe right now and healthy. And that's all we ever know anyway, even before this. We count on our loved ones being around every day, but we don't know. So, I focus on that. I let myself feel terrified. I let myself feel mildly anxious. I let myself feel joyful. Yesterday, and I'll tell you what I did during my day, but yesterday I actually felt joy for the first time in, consistently in 6 weeks. So, I feel hopeful. I feel hopeless. So I encourage you to allow yourselves to feel your full range of emotion. So yesterday was what I call an atypical day. Weirdly atypical because I would have normally done all these things anyway, but in a different way than I'm doing it now. Yesterday and today, well, actually today is the last day of a business that I have come to adore in Doylestown called the Zen Den. The Zen Den was my office away from home. And I would have my business meetings there. I would have friend meetups there. I've met friends there. And Annette, who's been the owner of it, decided it was time to close it down. It's been 9 years. So yesterday I drove by because they were doing curbside pickups or walking in, masks on, quick pickup and run. So I stopped by there yesterday. And it occurred to me that as we're all wearing our masks, it was like a Halloween party. We had to figure out, okay, who is that behind the mask? And, so we did a lot of virtual hugs. I saw friends there and we did long distance hugs. So I said goodbye to Annette, although it's not goodbye, it's just goodbye to the business. And then I walked out to my car and I couldn't drink my tea because I had the mask on. And it's my favorite. It was Peter Rabbit tea. And what was cool about, the Zen Den, it's like Cheers, the kind of place where everybody knows your name. But not only that, she knew what kind of tea I ordered every time, what kind of sandwiches I ordered every time. Oh, you want this? Okay, it's not like they had it ready for me, but they knew what to do. So on my way back to the car, mask on, carrying my tea, I encountered this woman, mask on, and she says, "Oh, I wish I could hug you." And I said, "Do you know me?" And she says, "Oh yeah, I met you last year at Pride Fest in Doylestown where I was doing free hugs." And she said her son was there too, and he wasn't there that day yesterday. He was there at Pride Fest. So she remembered meeting me and that I hugged him and hugged her. So I got back to my car, drove over to my cousin Jody's house. And Jody and I are first cousins. We've lived together. We've just had a long-term relationship, that even if we weren't family, we'd still be friends. So she had set a chair up for me in her backyard, a good 20 feet away from her deck where she was sitting with her chair. And she has a chocolate lab named Maddie, and Maddie had her lead on, and she kept running back and forth between us. And Maddie kept wanting to jump into my lap. You know how big dogs often think they're lap dogs? Well, I was willing to let her do that, because Maddie was the first mammal that I have hugged in the last 6 weeks. I've hugged a couple trees, which is lovely, but it's not the same. So I got to hang out with Jody and Maddie for a while, and I got my hug fix on. So that was helpful. And I'm trying to think if there was anything else I did yesterday. Then I came home and some of my neighbors were out. So I went over to my cross the street neighbor, Debbie's house, and she and another neighbor and I were just chatting. And I believe the other neighbor's name is Nancy. I always get her name wrong. But we were a distance away, but we were talking like we normally would. And we decided that when weather gets warmer and we're going to bring our our lawn chairs or beach chairs out and sit on somebody's lawn and just have a conversation, because we don't have to be physically separate, or socially separate, just because we're physically separate. And then I mowed my lawn for the first time. So it felt like a really complete day. And it was really helpful. And then I took a nap afterward. So a question that I ask as we close, because I think I only have a little more time. Is that, Glenda, what's the time? 5, is that how long? 2 minutes. Okay, 2 minutes, real quick. The question I invite you to ask yourself is, who will you be when this is over? Who will you have evolved into? Because this is a life changer. There isn't a single person on the planet for whom this is not a life changer. So will you be more patient? Will you be more loving? Will you be more accepting? Will you be braver? Will you be calmer? All of the things that this is teaching us. Will you be healthier? All of those things. So think about, who are you evolving into? This morning I saw something that Jeff had, my friend in Virginia, had posted about the movie Cocoon, one of my favorite movies. And maybe we are all aliens coming out of a cocoon. So think about who you're going to be, what kind of butterfly you're going to be when you come out of your chrysalis. And the uncertainty of it, I think, is the hardest part for me. I have no clue how long this is going to go on. My Muslim friends would say, inshallah, as Allah wills it. Who knows? I really don't know. So the last thing I want to leave you with is, decide whether you're going to be resilient or demoralized and defeated by this. Because some of what's going on in the world right now is incredibly demoralizing, incredibly defeating. There's a sense that, that when you separate people, that they're going to turn on each other, or they're going to become so depressed that they're not going to take action. And I think about the movie The Grinch, that the Grinch wanted to keep Christmas from coming because he believed it was about presents. And what it really was about was presence, being fully present. And Christmas came anyway. So my thought is, regardless of what is going on behind the scenes, and I have no clue, I refuse, just like I refuse to let the disease get me, I refuse to let the defeat and the demoralization get me. I'm going to stand up and speak out however I can, in the name of love, in the name of unity, in the name of connection, in the name of hugs. Who knows when I'm going to be able to do the free hugs thing again. But in the meantime, I'm going to love with all, yes, Donna, absolutely. I'm going to love with all I've got, and I invite you all to do the same thing. So the other quick announcement I want to make, Michael K., who is Yvonne K.'s nephew, has a regular Facebook Live, and I'm going to be on Tuesday night at 7 p.m., and I'll post a link on my Facebook page, or maybe even on the Circle of Miracles Facebook page, because I'm going to be talking about caring for the caregiver. Those of us who are in a position to take care of other people, medical professionals, therapists, teachers, parents, all of us are caregivers. How do we take care of ourselves in the midst of putting it out there to take care of other people? So I thank you. I bless you. I love you. Namaste.